Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Deliciously Decayed. I'm Rick.
And I'm Dev. Today we're exploring an undisclosed mental facility somewhere near Boston, Massachusetts.
This is one of the darker ones yet.
Yeah, so far.
Let's do it.
From Hockomock Swamp to Dighton Rock and everything in between. Petroglyphs and monoliths and things best left unseen. Bridgewater Triangle, dark and creepy corridors, haunted asylums, and don't forget the tunnels. New England and beyond, only for the unafraid. Take a dog journey down an untraveled path that's deliciously decayed. Deliciously decayed. Deliciously decayed.
So, a little word to the wise if you think of coming to this undisclosed facility. Don't. It is the most heavily patrolled area I have ever seen in my life. I have no idea what they are hiding, but we were informed by the police not to come back. It was radioactive. That may be it. And they kicked us out with a warning. We were kind of lucky. So, watch your back.
So unfortunately we really can't disclose where this is, but we can give you a little bit of background, and this was actually the state's leading institution for cognitive and developmental disabilities. This school was founded in the 1800s to try to teach kids with developmental disabilities. So while it started out with really good intentions, it really wasn't all that long before it started treating the kids like they were in an asylum. In the early 20th century, they started having a pretty significant increase in admission because they had really expanded their mission of who they're going to be able to accept. There were some instances where parents would just abandon their poor, uneducated, or unruly children because they just didn't want to deal with them anymore. And the school took them in and treated them like they did have some sort of developmental delay. So they started taking in kids with disabilities, people with epilepsy or other chronic issues, and even kids with no disabilities at all who were just abandoned there. So then in the 1920s, there was a new superintendent who took over, and at that point, he sort of decided that they should change the whole meaning of the school as a whole. Before, it was really meant to be more focused on the moral and ethical aspects of treatment and care, and he really just wanted to move things back towards scientific progress. And that's when you start seeing some more experimental treatments.
So, the turn of the 20th century, there was a practice where scientists were attempting to make this popularized. Criminologists were getting together and they were trying to link the underdeveloped brain with the criminal brain. This is something called eugenics, and essentially what eugenics is it's a genetic method where they would take groups of people, they would try to find recessive genes, unsavory genes that were alleged by these criminologists. They tried to take these people and isolate them so they could not breed. This was something later perfected by the Nazis, but it didn't originate there. This, among other experimentation, was going on at this very facility. One experiment in particular that caused quite a national buzz for the wrong reasons was a series of experiments that had some serious consent issues. This was brought on by Quaker Oats and MIT. Yes, that MIT. And what Quaker Oats wanted to do is they wanted to test how their food products were being absorbed and traveled through the body. So they had the scientists and researchers lace the oatmeal as well as milk and other things with radioactive isotopes that were allegedly safe in small doses, but who knows? The real issue wasn't deaths per se, but the complete lack of consent for patients that could, number one, couldn't really consent on their own. Their parents were given this very, very vague consent form that was like a paragraph. I read it myself and didn't really get into exactly what was going on. It kind of just talked about a system of rewards and made it sound very positive. Didn't mention any sort of radiation. This was so controversial that in the 1990s there was a $60 million lawsuit that was settled, as well as the President of the United States at the time, Bill Clinton, having to publicly apologize to the survivors or the people that were still alive, as the Atomic Energy Commission, which was funded by the government, had okayed these experiments to take place. So yeah, some major issues there. So is this facility haunted? Personally, I couldn't find too much information on this, very surprisingly, probably because of the high levels of security. But my personal, very unscientific opinion is walking through this place, going into some of the buildings such as the dorms and where they kept some of the patient files. It's very eerie. You could feel somewhat of a presence there, and sometimes things just kind of move around, like I saw some fans moving, just papers, patient files will just kind of blow by. I mean, yeah, of course there's broken windows and you can easily account for the wind, but it's weird. These are large buildings, extremely, extremely large. You don't expect to see a couple of files just kind of float by. I mean, it's nothing overt, but enough to make you kind of jump.
I'm not really sure why they decided that this would be okay, but the town apparently let the Lions Club use the campus of this school to have a holiday light show. It wasn't really clear exactly why they decided this was acceptable, but there were a lot of reasons why this was a controversial choice. There were advocacy groups who really disagreed with this for multiple reasons, including that it was disrespectful to the kids who were there, who really weren't able to celebrate any holidays and were consistently treated pretty badly.
Alright guys, well that concludes another episode of Deliciously Decayed. What do you think?
I thought this was definitely some fascinating history, but definitely the most messed up thing that we've covered so far.
Absolutely, with a lot of police detail and very heavy security, so don't come here. Also, anything else you want to say?
I'm just surprised that they could treat people this badly for so long.
That is very shocking and surprising. So remember to hit that like button, smash that sub, don't eat the satanic oatmeal. I am Rick.
And I'm Deb. See you in New England's darkest corners.